Hello everybody, I'm going to try to show you how to get everything set up for starting your own skirmish map for Homeworld 3. I have never done a video like this before, so you might have to bear with me sometimes, stuttering and whatnot. Alright, to get started you are going to need the EGS game store, Epic Game Store, because you are downloading a modded editor of the Unreal Engine, and everything to do with the Unreal Engine has to be done through here. So if you search up Homeworld 3 up here, you'll see the actual game, and then the mod tools and editor. So you can install that, and then launch it when it's done installing. Now, the first time, this is going to take probably quite a long time, especially if it's on a hard drive. So I'm going to be waiting quite a bit here. I'll skip over it. Alright, when the editor finally launches, you're going to be presented with something like this. You can close the message box. My UI was probably different from yours because I've changed some of the docs of some of the different things here. So to get started, hit create UGC. It's going to contain all of the stuff to do with your map. And you can name it whatever you want here because you won't see this in-game. But you are going to be using this name quite a lot when it comes to the actual editor. It's going to generate the default levels for you. And here they are. These are the levels, the orange ones. And then these are your level data and progression. This connects the game through the menu and then to your actual levels. Okay, to get through the next step, you gotta get all these rename these replaced with your project name. You gotta leave whatever's like the underscore, and beyond that, you gotta leave that there. If these names aren't right, then the mod won't load correctly. Alright, so they're all ready. So now we can go open the LD data file. This is just to hook up to your main level. So get to your main level there. The rest of this is just overridden by LP, so don't worry about that. Okay, so these names in here in your LP file are going to be the actual stuff that you see. So title will be the title. Description is a tooltip. I don't think it's used. The one that says tooltip is actually what your level description is going to be after you click on it below its picture. And then down here you want to hook up to your LD file. There. Save that. Did pick the right main right. Yes, I did. Right here, the thumbnail and loading screen. These are where you can actually put your pictures in. Thumbnail being the one that you'll see in the lobby. Loading screen is the loading screen one. And if you want to get a picture for this, usually I just take a screenshot of the viewport. And then you can get the picture from wherever you save it. Picture here. Picture. Let's put my desktop background in here apparently. Right. Just drag and drop it in here into your content where all the stuff is. And you'll see it show up here with whatever name you had originally. So you can just leave things this way, but you'll probably want to organize things if you end up adding more stuff. So I've been using the name images to store all images. Texture is probably more appropriate. There are different kinds of textures though, so if you move things around in here, make sure to press move here. If you don't, things can go kind of wrong. This should be fine the way it is, yeah. Just make sure it saves. You can open your LP and put it in there. And that's the thing you'll see in the thumbnail. Alright, now go ahead and open your main by double clicking it. And then you're going to want to use window because I have it docked over here, but it won't be docked by default. So you open it here, and then you'll get access to the screen. Levels, you want to set the default streaming method to always loaded. This way you won't get these pauses all the time. And then add persistent levels. You might not be in the right folder here, so look for your mod folder. It should be under your project name and then content. So you can select all those except for main, and then add them. And now your viewport will actually be working. As you can see, this is the map that is just here when you start. And save that. You're going to want to save often. I can tell you that much. Okay, so the sensor manager is kind of annoying. You're not going to want to see it, so you can use these eyes here to just make it go away. And there you go, that's more or less what you'll really see in the game. Okay, so I'm going to do it like a fresh start, and I'm just going to go through all of this and just remove all the stuff that you won't need. So I'm just going to go directly through each level. Audio is empty, so that's fine. And then the world outliner is going to show the list of everything in your open level. So I don't believe you need anything in this one. No, you do not. So you can go ahead and just kill every single thing. Yes, because I'm killing all of them. And we can move over to the next one. So FX is next. Alright, we don't need any of this either. By all means, you can keep some things for reference, but this is for a clean start. And go to gameplay. So these ones, you're going to want to keep some of these for reference. These example tier resource respawners, you can get rid of these. They actually don't do anything at all. Alright, so you can see your camera reference here. These things, this needs to be here. These, your spawns, need to be here. And then I always like to keep one of these groups just to keep things cleaner. Alright, now this is kind of one step that they honestly probably should have had set up for you. But you're going to need to use your content browser here to get us blueprint that you need in this one. You can search it from the base, and you'll see a VP Skirmish Objective Handler. Without this, your level won't be able to end ever, so you can just drag it in there. I like to set these things to zeros, just so they're all together where I can find them. Same with the camera here. The camera reference, if you don't use a loading picture later on, the camera reference is actually where the camera is going to be sitting during the load screen, because you can see that countdown, right? And you can see the map behind it. That's where the camera will be sitting. So you can choose a different place if you want. Alright, so you can go back to what we're working on. Get rid of that. Okay. Just double checking. Okay. On the lighting. So lighting, we are going to delete all of this as well. Okay. So for custom lighting, you may just do whatever you want here, but to make things easy to get started, you're going to want to do the same thing. Go to their content here and grab a specific skybox, which is kind of already set up to make things easier on you. And where is it? Where are you? Blind? Yeah, I might be blind. HD. There we go. I swear to God that wasn't there before. Alright, drag and drop into the viewport. I like this 102. So it's gonna come in as you're just gonna see all this blue because it hasn't been assigned anything yet. And we can go back to your folder. And there's nothing in main ever. The main level is where all of the stuff inside each level is going to be assembled when the game loads. So you can open this one next here. So this is your sensor manager overlay when it pops up. So you can actually put names in here if you want to. You can actually name areas of your map. I don't care about that, so I'm just gonna move them for now. Keep this thing. Just put it at 0 as well. That's that one. Alright. So these SVO things are how you set up a lot of the boundaries for your level. Sim Universe Bounds is your actual limit of where your ships could go, where you can give orders. Ships can't go outside this one. The navigation volume is for the editor. This is where your pathfinding will be generated in that space. And then whatever it generates will be in the data one. And then after that, you got cold distance. This is what unloads objects depending on how far away from the camera they are. We can usually leave these settings alone. Camera bounds specifically blocks your camera from escaping those boundaries, so people can't move and see the empty spaces in your map. So I'm just gonna kind of make these all the same to start with, because it's very annoying trying to change these when they're all different from each other. Cube builder. Okay, and I'm just gonna give them like 10,000 for now. 10,000 is very far, by the way. Alright, is that everything? I believe so. Alright, we can go back into our main. And you will now see emptiness, except for a box, and a couple of little gameplay objects. So there's a couple errors in their default setup that you need to take care of. So under the first 2 player starts, the fleet point start is the wrong one. So when the player starts here, fleet point, set to the actual one it's supposed to be. Okay. So the reason I like to keep these is because it's very easy to make more players by duplicating the hierarchy like that. Okay. I'm gonna set these to 0 as well. Alright. So the fleet point, by the way, is where the mothership will be. The player start is where your camera will be on the load once it starts up. And then, so say you want all 6 players, you can just duplicate each of these commanders until you have 6. Oops, it has to be just the folder. Alright. And you'll see up to 6. You want all these to be 6. The commander one starts at 0. Doesn't really matter. And then you're going to want to make sure that in these player start ones, that this ID number counts up, and it does not automatically. So you're going to need to change them. Starting from 0, this number starts from 0. So 3 is 2. So this is 1 less than whatever the number is. Alright, and that connects it all up. So you can't actually do anything else from in here aside from this setting the fleet start point. All of these are overwritten by other files, so don't worry about them. Save all those. Alright, when dealing with your resource spawners, they are very finicky actually. The resource spawners are where your the actual thing will be, the actual asteroid or whatever you use. But they have to be connected to a resource group in this list. Otherwise, they just won't be there in game. Where do they all happen to be right now? Right here somewhere. Alright, you're all going in the middle too. Okay, and so this is one of the things that gets really annoying about this, is that the group determines where a harvester will launch those smaller ships from. So if you can't have these things spread out far away from each other, otherwise when they come to harvest one, it'll stop when it gets there, and then just send a ship to each one of them, right? It'll just go as far as it needs to reach them. So you're going to need to keep that in mind. So if you're having like single things, you're going to need one of these for each one. Okay, I guess that's good enough for now. That. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, here's the other thing. So in your main, with the details here, there's actually another tab called World Settings. In order to make sure things work right, you're going to have to go into here under the world area. There's the navigation system config. This will tell the main level what to connect to get your nav data. So the navigation level is going to be created in SVO, and for when it searches for the actual things that are going to get in your way, it's going to be your environment. Come on. And that's that. Okay. Above here, in your light mass settings, I recommend ticking this off. It's going to force every client that uses your level to generate the lighting on the client side. If you uncheck it, it'll pre-create a bunch of things when we package for them. Alright, I think that's that. Alright, I think we're ready to actually get started now. Okay, so this is basically a blank start now. So which levels do you use for what? Some of them are self-explanatory. Audio, you can set up some background sound, or I actually haven't used the audio one yet at all. Environment is where most of your stuff's going to be. Pretty much your actual geography will be in there, FX is where you can put some of the larger environment effects in that one. And then under gameplay is where objects to do with the skirmish mode are going to be. Lighting is lighting. Main will have nothing in it. Sensor manager is already fine the way it is pretty much. So you can ignore that one. SFO has your boundary boxes in them. Alright, so let's just do something simple. Get started, so actually I should have just loaded up main. I don't know why I did that. 10 years later. Oh, that's nice. Alright, so if you can't see your skybox yet, just double click on main and load it again and it should show up now if you're in that lit mode up here. And there you go. And you got your resource spawners sitting on top of each other. Right there. So you have a couple ways of actually building things. You can actually stay in main and just put things in each level from here using your levels window. If you double click on one, see the bolded one is the one you're placing objects in, and then here in the bottom right corner you can see either what your selected actor is or what level you are currently building in. It's contextual. Alright, we can get started then. So double clicked on environment so I can start putting in random objects in. So to find the stuff that they provided for us, you can just go back up to content in here. Most your stuff that you can use in maps is found somewhere in this folder structure under assets. Usually I just search for whatever type of object I'm looking for, so simple objects are always static meshes. And I can click here because it's going to ask me if you want to search for an actual type. Okay, why did it do that? Alright. And then it will actually show me in all of assets every single static mesh, so a basic model with collision, but it's not really meant to move or anything like that. So a bunch of star generators, and here you got a bunch of ships, and all sorts of objects for various use. So I'm going to pick a bunch of random things just to put out, just so you can see it happen. So many ships. Okay, here we go. So you're going to notice there are some naming things to find objects quicker. A lot of the giant megastructures you see are under MEG. So I'm just going to click a bunch of them. Let's see, this one, which those are tiny. Take a couple of those. Not sure why not. A bunch of these giant plates. And it's going to lag for a second because it's load all 8 of those. And I'm going to drop them in the Alright. Send them to the actual map. When you drop things in the viewport, they're going to appear right in front of your camera. And as you can see, they take up almost the whole level. So you can quick select them here. You can click on them directly. Or you can just get any specific object from the world outliner. So I'm just going to move them about in the area. Very dark in here. Alright. The other objects be inside each other? I don't care right now. Okay. To make things more manageable in here, you're probably going to want to use some kind of folder structure. Because this list will start to fill up very quickly as you go on. Alright, there's a bunch of stuff in there now. I might as well show you to do the lighting one next. Alright, so here. Okay, so your lighting thing is called BPP, Sky HDR Rig. And when you click on it, you're going to get quite the long list of details. So it doesn't matter where it is. It's bound to the camera. So literally none of this means anything. The rotation will affect the way things are oriented though. So the sky mesh scale is how far from the actual camera your mesh reaches. So the actual sphere, there's a sphere around you right now. Can't really see it tell, but maybe we'll pick up a better skybox. It's a little brighter. It's not really any brighter. Whatever. Alright, so you can change your brightness to get things a little brighter in here, or you can just use unlit, but of course it goes into, you can't see any lighting whatsoever, no shadows, nothing. So I kind of like to work in lit unless it's dark in the way I'm working. Alright, so under all of these, there's just a massive number of all sorts of things that can affect the way the skybox is going to look and the way your map is illuminated. You can actually influence like the overall color of things and everything, like even the FX, you can put a little bit of a different tint to them to get them to match the environment if that's what you want. The one thing that is probably going to come up is the sky mesh scale. This is how big this sphere is that's surrounding your camera. If it's too small for your large map, it'll start to clip through anything you might want in your background. It'll be behind it, and you won't be able to see it at all. So I recommend setting it to something pretty high. And you can't even tell the difference because it's scaling around us. Okay, so your primary light source is the key light. So you can see if you spin it here, it'll actually move the sun effect that comes with this. But oddly enough, there's clearly a lot of light coming from that spot in the skybox. So usually either I will just shut this down entirely, or I will try to actually make it line up with that effect. Let's see here. Oh, it's good enough. It's in there somewhere. All right. Just so it doesn't make the map look a little weird. There are a couple other important things in here. Oh, the post process has a lot of various stuff that affects how the whole map's going to look under all these tabs here. I'm going to spread my resources out a little bit. Let's move that. Too much? No, put it back. Okay. Let's spread them out. Right there. Alright, just so in game we can get an example. They're actually won't appear in each other in game though. They'll be spawned one by one and moved if they're inside something else. Let's move the spawns out now. One of the most interesting things that I learned when placing spawns is like if you want to do symmetrical things that aren't based on, say, basic square and stuff like that, like, or rectangular, right? You can easily line those up. But what if you wanted to do something like rounded? The best way I've found to do that is actually go to the content here and look up circle, and you'll get the 16-point circle. And if you put that in there, and 0, 0, 0, you can use its scale to line up where you want to put things. So I'm gonna scale it directly to 100. No, not the sky. Damn it, 16-point circle. 100. Okay. Okay, a little bit too much. And right there you go. And you can now use this image to line up where you want your players to start. So these are nested. So if I move the point, player start's going to come with it. Alright, so say you wanted to get them all in a nice circle. So there's 6 players, right? So you just get that divided up from 360, and you can come up here and snap the rotation to that amount. X-axis plus is forward in this game, so the red arrow is pointing to where these things are facing. So I can move the 3 points. The player start is nested in each one, so they'll just be pulled along with it. And each one down here. Right. Okay, so there's one last thing we need to take care of, and that is in your sim universe bounds volume, you're going to need to change collision to no collision. Otherwise, you won't be able to click on anything in the game because inside this volume will be blocked off. So coal distance, I usually just have it the same as your sim universe bounds. It'll unload objects when they get this far away based on their size, which you can change if your design needs it, but I think these numbers are set to optimize for people's systems. Alright, so and stuff like that is actually just generated off of what's in the environment and has collision enabled. So up here you can hit navigation. You're going to want to clear. You're always going to want to clear whenever you do this, clear first. And I'll just preset this so we can actually see what happens when it's done. So far from the camera you can see, show leave nodes so we can actually see. And then when you build it, this can take either like a very long time if you have a lot of objects in here, or a very short time like that. And then 6,000 units from the camera, you can see what has been generated as something that can't be passed through for the path finding. And as you can see, you can actually go inside that one. And that's the same. And there you go. This view is a little bit laggy, by the way, so you don't want to set the number 6,000 too high, 6,000 above the limit. Anything beyond that, you're going to start, even that's too much if objects are really close to each other. And that should be it. And your last step for when you're ready to test in the game, have everything saved, and press package, and then your project, which is 13 for me. I have a little folder I like to put them in right there. Alright, so this thing will show up here. You can press show the output log to actually get your details, what's going on. This will take a varying amount of time. If your map isn't complex, it's pretty fast, I guess. But it will still be a while. And you can see everything that's happening in here. All these warnings are all to do with stuff that's their fault, not yours. You'll know if something goes wrong when it says failed, and then just a little do not enter sign appears here. A lot of this is just warnings. The white is actually telling you what is happening right now. And we can wait for this to finish. Alright, finished. Can we even see how long it took in total? 2.1 seconds to finish the job, but how long did it take to get here? No, it's secret. I'm sure it's somewhere in here. Whatever. If you actually had a problem, this is going to show up and say failed and everything. Your error message will be above it in red. Anyways, we're all good. So I'm going to open up to where I put it here. And to test it without actually uploading it, I just need to take it to the mods folder directly. And I have this folder already open here, but I'll show you what it looks like properly. So mine's a Steam install to a custom location on the F drive. When you get to Homeworld 3, it'll look like this. You go inside Homeworld 3, create a mods folder spelled like that, capital M-O-D-S. It's not there, and paste it there. And I like to unzip it. I don't even know if it matters. But there I did it anyways. Just to take care of this, if you haven't already, if you go back a step here and go into content packs, you will also want this mods folder for manual install mods. So the tittle wave thing, however you pronounce that, it's above tab and below escape. Mods lowercase. And then there you'll be putting whatever corresponding file. And now at this point you're ready to start to see if it actually works or not. So here we go. Right, to create Skirmish offline, and our map just has the project name. I think that's it, and I forgot to raise the number of players in LP, so we only have 2. And I didn't move player start, so it's inside where your ship's going to be at the start here. Alright, let's test this. So as you can see, it is detecting these surfaces. Can't move it outside the sim bound. Turns red when you get outside it. Alright, make sure you can actually travel inside things. I am running a mod that affects the gameplay, by the way. So yeah, you can go inside there, so that's working fine. Okay. And the resources working fine. Now we just need to see if the level actually ends. So I'll blow myself up. Alright. So the skirmish thing does work. And that's all. So now you have a working map. So when you actually upload it, it's actually pretty straightforward. You just need to take the zip that's been generated from the packaging and on the mod.io website. It's very easy. You just go to Homeworld 3, create a mod, and when it asks you for the file, you give it this. And that's pretty much it. You press subscribe, it'll show up in game. Because it's just a skirmish map, you can just press subscribe in game and it'll work fine from there. Sometimes you have to go into the skirmish menu and then back out to get it to refresh the list. And that's that.